What is up, ladies and gents? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster, Raph Esparza, coming to you with another great installment of the Bullpen, a joint venture between Inside BJJ and the Grappling Hour. I hope you're having a great day, at least better than mine. So you see this little part here. It says, should have made coffee. Now, that was a joke. Not a great one, but a joke. And I had a running bet here with the gentleman on this broadcast, and I said, let me see if in the time the countdown happens, if I can go make a cup of coffee. And I did my damnedest to get over there. Wife kind of screwed things up. She didn't replace the water filter. Run it against the clock here. I made it back in time. Unfortunately, no coffee. Here's what happens. I make it to the coffee maker, and I knocked over a salt shaker, which then spilled glass on the floor and salt. So then I have to put a barricade so my dogs don't try to go over to it. So I guess what I have to look forward to once this show is done is doing cleanup. Nonetheless, no coffee. Started as a joke, turned into a real one. Nonetheless, I'm here. You're here. Why don't we say hi to my good friend, Tim Freeman. Tim, how are you doing? Are you good? Do you have coffee on you?
I do. I have coffee on me. I'm drinking it out of my sister's Are the Best Friends cup right here. And I'm feeling real good, man. I'm training, saying my prayers, taking my vitamins, hanging and banging, humping and bumping, dude. I'm ready. It's another installment of the Bullpen. I'm stoked to be here, man.
Let's maybe not do humping and bumping like immediately after saying you're training. Just as a thought. I'm
a Hulkamaniac. What can I say, man? I can't help it.
What? Not the time to be a Hulkamaniac. Honestly, there have been better times in the past. This is not the time to go down that way.
I'm doubling down. I'm getting in when the stock is low. I'm buying low right now.
How low you looking to go here, Tim? Because I didn't know you could get lower than negative regions.
I'm talking penny stock.
Okay. Well, speaking of penny stocks, why don't we go to our good friend, Kevin Sherrill. Kevin, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good, man. I also came prepared and had my coffee. I already finished it. I got my Star Wars mug.
Yeah?
I'm a fucking dork. Yep.
So are you a huge Star Wars fan? Is this something that we didn't know about you?
On this and on the range of Star Wars fans, no, I really don't want to fucking put my name on that.
Okay.
I was a huge Star Wars fan. I like Star Wars a lot, but let's
test this theory. Who's your favorite character?
Out of here. Mace Windu. Were you looking for something more obscure?
No, I didn't know where you were going to go. You didn't scream.
Name Mace Windu's best albums.
L. Jackson guy to me, but sure, if that's where you want to
It's the purple lightsaber, dude. It's the purple lightsaber. It's so rad.
Have you read the reason why they ended up going with the purple lightsaber?
Yeah. He insisted on having a purple lightsaber. George Lucas told him, he was like, yeah, man, so, bad guys get red and Jedi get blue and green. And Samuel was like, yeah, how about purple? And he goes, well, we don't do purple. And he goes, we should do purple. And George was like, all right, I'll see what I can do. And he just got a purple lightsaber. He just demanded it. I love that shit.
It's an impressive feat, I should say. I just didn't know. The reason why we put you down as you're trying to make fetch happen is you keep running in this fire and ice analogy. And it's so weird because the first time you did it, I didn't mind it. I said, okay, that's fine. He's doing his whatever nerd lore nonsense. But there was a legitimate moment, and Tim, you can back me up on this, where we said, hey, can we do one of the shows on these days? And you said, absolutely not. We said, oh, okay, well, what's the reason? You go, I have a D&D thing that day. And I said, I'm so sorry. And I didn't mean to pry on this, but Tim followed up and said, all day? And you go, you don't know how this goes.
Yeah, bro. 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., son. We break. Everybody brings food. We break in the middle, go back to it. Yeah.
I'm all for it. I'm happy for you.
Listen,
it's just
the trail of breadcrumbs was there. Like, y'all, this is something that, like, I'm currently wearing a Lord of the Rings shirt. There's comics on the shelf behind me.
I see the comics behind you, but in knowing true Kevin Sherrill lore, I know that just because everything seems a certain way doesn't necessarily mean it's true. For example, when you tell us I fly planes and I kind of poke at it and I say, currently? And you go, no, as a child. I go, oh, that explains it much better now. But when you have
like
a
we all did.
bookshelf and you assume all of those have been read, I say, no. Not catching me twice here. They just might be on the shelf or have come with it. So I have learned to make some adjustments there.
Yeah, the set
I think there's a
dressers,
couple I haven't read. I'll be real.
All right. And you know what? The weird part is you tell us this, but I can't see the shirt. So what does the shirt look like? What does it say as a Lord of the Rings thing? Because I would have never gotten that.
It's Theoden's speech for the Rohirrim charge in Return of the King.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, that'll keep... Wow. Oh, no, actually, that's pretty dope. I can't hate on that.
All right. Listen, man, I have style. It's, it's really fucking dorky. I have a special place in my heart for stuff that's like super dorky, but at first glance you don't pick up on. Like, it just looks like this could be a band t-shirt. You have no idea. Unless you know Lord of the Rings, and then you might pick up on it. That's like my whole left arm sleeve and right leg are all just nerd references. Nerd references and dumb jokes.
Oh, man. Well, the worst part is you just said there was a trail of breadcrumbs there. And I just thought, have you ever considered maybe we just reject the breadcrumbs and we say, you know what? I just believed you. Sure. Sounds great. I enjoy that too. Tim, you recently went down to the PGF qualifier last weekend. How did that go, sir?
So, yeah, I made the trek down there. I did it with some caution and concern. The weather conditions were not that great. If you remember last week on the bullpen, which was last Friday, I was kind of him-hawing around like, I think I'm going to go and I'm going to see what's going to happen. And I had two guys that were competing down there, and I was kind of feeling them out. Like, y'all still going? Well, what's your plan? And they're like, we're going, dude. If we die in the snow, we're going. We are absolutely going to go. So being the black belt mastermind that I am, I figured I can use these guys as canaries in the coal mine because they got to weigh in way earlier. So you guys head down there, send me a report when you get there. Let me know how the road conditions are going. And then I'll make the drive. If you slide off the road and have a little misery action, then I'll stay back, or I'll call for help.
What are lower belts for, right? What are lower belts for?
Yeah, absolutely. So I made the trek down there. Roads were clear. Had a good time. It was the Enigma PGF qualifiers. There were quite a few super fights. Several of them had athletes that did not come due to the conditions. So that put a little bit of a damper on it. But the athletes that came, they brought some heat. So the matches were good overall. Congratulations to Anthony Valdez, who won the qualifier. I think he won the final match by DQ, which is insane. The story I heard is that his opponent left and then got the call like, yo, it's not over, which I don't know why he left. I don't know what the situation was, but he bounced and he plugged, oh shit, I got to come back. 10th planet in his GPS. He ended up Huntsville before he realized like, oh, I've gone to the wrong 10th planet. I actually should be in Decatur, which Huntsville, Decatur's a little ways away. So he lost by DQ. Might be the first ever win by getting your opponent to go to the wrong location, which I think is actually a pretty decent strategy, if you ask me.
That's in the Art of War, yeah. That's Sun Tzu's Art of War for sure, yeah.
So overall, I thought it was a good event. They crowned a qualifier champion. We'll see him at PGF Season 8 in Las Vegas. I think that's coming up in March, 155 pounders. So got to see B-Mac and got to see Keelan and Isaac and the whole crew. So that was a good time. Got to confront Stephen Akin on his brutal attack of me at the PG. But allegedly, this is not AI generated. This is live on the some words, but I'm trying to be the bigger man. I'm trying to demand and his children want to make a scene in front of the kids. So
I have a few things to kind of double check here. I think the first thing I check on Tim is the fact that you have students that you said you should go. Try King show, but and it is song thinking like going on a journey, and it'll be great. Learned lots of life lessons. No, he literally set out to in the conditions looked like this. Why Tim was like, maybe I shouldn't go. Instead said, you know, I'm going to send my students. As a result, let me know if looks safe.
This from the Alabama Traffic Department website. It's icy symbols.
Let's check this out. There's no more space cars on this certain point. Need more placards. You know it's not ideal. So you brought something that I thought merited some discussion from the group board. And Christos, I've heard, has done a great job. Has been nonstop working. And then I see this photo, and I need you to give me some context here. What? Because not at the Comedy Store, who a moleskin to make match elements. This dude basically it's not great. It comedy show. So that was this young man in this moleskin book, and this as moleskin man.
That was actually the King James version. We just had a quick scripture read each match. He just came out and said, like, thy hands have prepared for war. And, yeah! And then we did the match. I think what was happening is for the lineup that he was just handwriting things and he would go up there and read it. It does feel too official for Decatur. No offense
He was
any Alabamians.
His joke, hey guy. What do you think? So do people? We're gonna move on. This is another joke. You guys ever notice bus fare ain't what it used?
Was working out a set, dude. Right.
Man, listen, if anybody is gonna hate this show, it's gonna be about.
Bro, that's vintage PGF. As soon as Decatur remembered who it was, we're making announcements out of a notebook. Back, like we're our roots, baby.
So hold on. There's a whole apostrophe section or an asterisk section, I guess I should say here, and this big head he mentioned. So let's go some notes. The first thing he said was, "Who's the guy on the edition?" I think to the fact was clean, and so look impressive. He less wide now without the beard, perhaps
Certainly.
equally insane. Don't know. And then he added, "Wow, a big nice." And this is why you and Egg have this unholy alliance. I don't quite understand, but like Kevin's the guy, like the jock that's like like you me. I promise. Yeah. And Egg's buying every second of it.
Listen,
God, Kevin, if
I'm gonna get in with the
girls getting kicked off the fucking she's all that Egg. You will be so pissed.
I think what it is up on him super quick. He gets it, dude.
It's the one that like but if it's a trilogy underrated. So anyway,
I want to know who's gonna ask me another my score. There's enough to know what the question is, and know for me to answer this time period. I feel this fucking movie, these dumb space samurai. A lot of. We're gonna get there, man.
Look at what you do. You do perfectly far. So I do feel like everybody has a noble cause. Just when you're sitting like, how dare you ask me with only a minute on a clock if I'm a Star Wars fan? No, it's a pretty open and shut fucking question. Yes, no, we move on. That's all. Speaking of which, here in a second, or at least your notifications, but yes, it does look like there's been some new information dropped about CJI Dose. That's what we're going with on this name. And yes, it does look like the very first team is fully pronounced. So Tim Freeman, what can you tell me about the latest announcements for CJI Dose?
So CJI Dose, it's a 8-team quintet style battle to find the best team in jiu-jitsu. The question last year was who's the best guy in his weight class, and I can't remember where the cutoff was, but they determined that last year, gave each guy $1 million. This year, Craig Jones was like, let's figure out who the best team is. The only team that I know for certain that has been selected or at least published is the 10th Planet team. So that's Gio Martinez, Alan Sanchez, PJ Bart, Ryan Aiken, and Kyle Bain. That's a pretty good team. Like, that's a good quintet style team. There were also a couple of rumors that got floated out there, and I want to give those to you real quick. And these were potential lineups for New Wave, which is interesting, and B Team. So we got from B Team Krellenstein, Joseph Chin, J-Rod, Declan Moody, Nick Rodriguez. That's a tight team. And then from New Wave, we got Dorian Oliveras, Taza, Bodini, Luke Griffith, and, of course, the champion of all time, Gordon Ryan. So there's some names being floated out there. AOJ could put up a really stacked team. Atos could put up a stacked team. So these are the things going out there right now. More importantly, the VP of Grappling from one championship, the one and only Tom DeBlas, came out and clarified just real quick, because I know everybody was thinking about it. He made sure that everyone knows there are no scheduling conflicts with ONE FC and CJI2, so we should expect to see the ONE FC athletes competing in CJI2. Thank you for clearing that up in January, because that was high on my list of concerns and worries about CJI2. I'm just trying to get in the building right now. That's all I'm trying to do. We can get in the building. That's what I want. Everything else is gravy, but I'm looking forward to it.
CJI Dose.
Dose, that's right.
Let's get that.
That should be the official CJI Dose. Should 100% be what they
Can
run.
I tell you why I did this? Is because Craig tried to take Mexican karate, and I said, you know what? I'm going to take it back from Craig. So I'm going to do the branding on this show as CJI Dose, because it's my way of making the whole Mexicanness of this. Because I'll tell you, a little jealous, I never came up with Mexican ground karate first. Nonetheless, you've seen the announcement here. Kevin, you are somebody who has probably already put together some groups in your head of who could be teams. Is it a strong move, or is it maybe a little foolish to put up one team this far in advance?
I think it's foolish. I'm hoping that the bullpen gets in as the official pre and post show, and I'm hoping that y'all lose me to CGI Dose, because we have a lineup, American Top Team does, that we would love to submit, but we don't want to. I don't want to. I'm sitting here thinking, man, do I even talk about it? Because there's some cool fucking names that I really think. But I don't want to talk about it. I think it's a little as soon as you set your lineup, everybody else is going to be making sure that they have a lineup that can beat your lineup. And if there's only one lineup out there, they're going to lock in on you. It's the curse of like, if you're the title holder for like the UFC, there's like 8 guys behind you that are all just watching you and trying to beat you and make sure they can beat you. They're not looking at each other. They're looking at the guy who has the belt. If you're the only list of names out there, everyone's going to lock in on you guys. So I think it's a powerful play if you're trying to make sure you're in the tournament, and I think it's potentially going to bite you in the ass when the tournament actually comes around.
I thought it was bold, but I also have a fear, which is that I've seen enough EBIs to know that sometimes the advertised poster does not make it to the actual event. Now, granted, they're very usual list of names that you would expect to be as their 5. I guess the weird part to me is if you put it out in January and nobody else has put any out, do you run the risk of maybe giving a little bit of a tipped hand? And the thing is, to my knowledge, Eddie contacted Alex Wendling and she put it out there for them. Nobody was saying you got to give it to us now. And I didn't know if I thought it's a little too early to do it or, man, I don't know that I would. So I'm in a space where I'm trying to hear it all out.
I know there's no 10th Planet super fights, right? Like famously 10P people don't do super fights for this specific reason. But like, I wonder how much infighting that's going to cause, because that's the usual customers. Those are the guys you would expect to see out of the 10th Planet lineup. But like, all of a sudden you got some young and hungry guys that are thinking, I can make 6 kilos. Where's Gio at? Let me get in a bracket with him and let me make a point. Like, you see that all the time. People fighting each other trying to get the spot. For the $1 million tournament, I wonder if it's not going to cause, like, if I was Eddie, I think my biggest concern wouldn't be the performance side. It would be, man, I don't want to be fucking hearing it for the next few months from everyone who didn't get a spot. That would be the primary issue. I'd rather announce it last second just not to deal with them.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's an element of that. I think you're right. But as far as I can tell, Eddie handpicked the team and basically was like, this is the team. I'm Eddie fucking Bravo. Like, deal with it. And he rarely does anything like that, to be honest with you. The other thing is what if it's a head fake? What if it's just like, hey, this is the team, and then everyone puts their teams out, and then you actually have another team? It could be a way, and I don't know if Craig talked about this, but it could be a way of making sure that 10th Planet gets a team out of the 8 teams. You just put it out there early, and you're like, this is our team, and we're going, and you almost put them over a barrel in a way. I have no idea. I don't know if that's true or not, but
that would be my suspicion. That's the advantage to announcing early, right? And there is absolutely nothing you can like hold back, especially with like an affiliation as deep as 10th Planet. There's nothing anybody's going to say when he goes, up, turns out fucking instead of PJ Barch, we're putting in Andy Varela or whatever, right? This far out, that lineup's not set in stone. That's just a bunch of big names that people can get hype about that can get them a spot and lock Eddie and 10th Planet's spot in. Solid play. I just wouldn't want to be listening to, I bet he got a lot of angry phone calls after that lineup went out.
You know what the weird part is? I looked at that list and I said, just based on their importance to the 10th Planet system, it's hard to argue with the names, but I'm sure if you're a competitor, you want your shot. I don't know if everything is always fully locked in, but if that is the fully locked in group, it's good. But we haven't heard everybody else's. So now I'm in a place of we're going to have to wait and see. And, I'm happy that PJ will be in it. I think that's pretty dope because at one point, even for Aiga, I couldn't tell where PJ was. I saw that they were going to do like a runoff. There was supposed to be a qualifier. Like all of this stuff just seems to be talk. And I think we're trying to figure out how it's going to play out. But nonetheless, very excited. No dates officially, but it is looking at August. And we did get a note here, and it says, but if CJI dose conflicts with ADCC, where does Gordon compete at both. How would they conflict? Because this is
I
an
think
off ADCC year.
maybe he means next year. Gordon said he's not doing ADCC anymore. And we know Gordon always sticks to his word, so.
Yeah. This is his retirement. This time, I mean it.
I like the idea that anytime you see a band that's like the Rolling Stones, it says, nope, this is the last time. Like, I better not hear anything from Gordon saying, are they retiring again? Because there you have it. Yeah, I don't think we're running into that issue this year. I think it's just more so of a CJI dose, August 2025. The earliest ADCC thing that you have is trials, and that is going to be in October or November, likely. But I don't think Gordon has to do the trials, unless he did tease it last time. He's like, wouldn't it be fun to do the trials and then make your way back? And all of us just say, like, can you just find something else to do? Like,
yeah, listen, man, the spotlight can be off you for a weekend, dude. Like, you know, wouldn't it be crazy if I did trials, right, guys? Yeah, man, that'd be fucking crazy. It's just fucking amazing.
Nonetheless, we will move on to our next topic, which is there have been some announcements about who's number 126. It's coming up sooner than you think, but over here we obviously have Jimenez being put there, but he's got a very good dance partner in Elder Cruz, but that's not the only announcement. One including J-Rod did make the waves this week, and I'll start by asking you, Kevin, is there anything that excites you about the upcoming Who's Number One card?
Yeah, I think Sattler versus Sainz could potentially be a very interesting matchup. That's the one that I'm like, got my eyes on. It's in my weight class, obviously, but like Sainz has been on a tear. Sattler's been on a tear. Their styles are diametrically opposed. They both want to play the top position. Neither of them, they're both willing to attack legs, but they're hard-nosed highlight reel hunters. I think that it's a little lower down, but I think that's going to be the match to watch.
Thank you for that. Tim, did you see any other announcement? And specifically, did you see the announcement with J-Rod and who he'll be taking on?
J-Rod is going to be going up against Ronaldo Souza, which is going to be a really great match. Both these guys have a dynamic style. And we've seen Souza take care of business against some pretty decent competitors. He's right up there. Seems like he's on all the latest UFC Fight Pass Invitational cards. So I would look for that one to be a fireworks style of a matchup. The other two matches that I have my eye on are Ryan Aikens against Lucas Lira. Aiken came off a monster 2024 year. Like, he had a really great year. He had an amazing run at the PGF. He scored more than half the points for his team. And, Lira's on a tear himself. So this is going to be a big statement for Aiken if he can come out and get the win. The other match is Diego Pato against Keith Krikorian. Keith had a rough outing at CJI at Jiu-Jitsu Overdose. It wasn't obviously what he wanted. He lost to Pato in the 2022 ADCC. I think in the first round, he got ankle locked. So he definitely wants to get that one back. Pato is the 2-division champ right now in WNO. So there's a lot on the line there. And Keith is he's like a grappler's grappler. This is a guy that's going to show up. I wouldn't be surprised if Keith beat anybody. He's that kind of a grappler. He's that good. I think it's going to be a real good match. It might be flying under the radar right now. I think people may be just assuming Pato's going to take that one home. But I got my eye on that one as well.
Thank you for that. I also just got a note from Kevin that says he will not be here when I press this button. So we're just going to look at his microphone for a minute.
Oh, yeah. He's busy reading The Hobbit right now.
Do you think he went to go get more coffee? Like, where do you think he went?
I think he went to put some Aquaphor on his new C.S. Lewis tattoo that he got. What's up, Kev?
You good, Kev? You gonna unmute yourself? Uh-oh.
Yeah.
There we go. Kevin, we had even bets to figure out what you did while you were away.
All right.
Confirm or deny. Did you go off screen to read one of your nerd novels?
No. You know I can't read. They all have pictures.
You know I can't read. You know I can't. Kevin starting every sentence with "you know" is always a terrible start.
Yeah,
As you know,
so
I
bad
can't
it's
read.
good, though.
Sorry, I'll dress it up for you.
He believes that we also know of Kevin lore.
Naturally, as you're well
Do you-
aware.
Do you even
I'm
know Kevin
illiterate.
lore, Raph?
My favorite is when people send me their favorite parts and they're like, "How did you guys not bust up laughing more?" And I go, "Well, I think the initial shock gets you, and then you very firmly go into the world of this is real life. This is not something we created as a bit. I'm just as surprised as any one of you guys, so I'm just gonna run with it." Okay, the other one was, did you go make yourself more coffee?
Oh, I wish. Just to lord it over you, though. You like need that extra cup, and I'd be like, smells good.
I got this like off-brand fucking Diet Coke, and this is just fine. The problem is, it's not that I didn't get the coffee that I wanted. I've told you I don't need coffee a ton. The absence of when someone says, "Oh, you can't have coffee," is when I go, but now I want it. So, thanks for that, Kevin.
Yeah, I'd rather have the heart attack than give up coffee. If it's a package deal, I'm taking the heart attack.
By the way, I very, very nicely told Kevin off air, but I will reiterate this for you guys. I went to go see a cardiologist today, and my cardiologist, I think, was trying to assure me, but he goes, "Your results are unremarkable." I was like,
Yeah,
"What?"
that's the word.
And he goes, "Yeah, no, that's good. It means nothing's out of the ordinary." And I go, "Oh, okay, cool." I thought it was like an athletic assessment he was giving me. And I go, "Unremarkable? I mean, dude, I could do some push-ups. I'm not like the guy, but don't ask me to do pull-ups. That's a different story. But like, I can do some work, sir." I was like, "You should see me on a 10-round Tuesday."
Yeah,
Unremarkable.
You pull out a real.
Don't got that dog in you. That's what he was looking for.
You got no heart. You got no heart, man.
You don't got it, Rock.
You can't teach heart.
Nothing was funnier than him saying that to me. And I knew it was a good thing, but the hurt I had, which was, okay, can I prove it to you, though? And I was like, nah, I don't prove that. Anyway, who's number one? Coming up very soon. Excited for that. I believe that is February 7th. So be on the lookout for this one. This one's an interesting one. Now, I know a lot of the times when we start new programs, we say things like, "I resolve to do this in the new year," or people have New Year's resolutions. This particular prompt that we have here today, a slight adjustment to it. It's already what? January 17th? We could tell you that some have failed, but I'd like to look further down the field and figure out what are some New Year's resolutions that you know are just going to fail this year. And you can be it from any version of jiu-jitsu, whether it's your white belts, your blue belts who are pie in the sky practitioners, or even amongst the professionals themselves. I'll start with you, Tim Freeman.
Well, I thought a lot about this, and I came up with 3 of them, and a couple of them I would say I have made resolutions and have failed in the past, in my former self, before I became hardened and cynical to the world of jiu-jitsu. But here we go. I'll start with my 3. Number 1 is that the resolution that you will start going to morning class. You will not go to morning class. The only people who go to morning class are people who have full gainful employment and a wife or spouse at home who will not tolerate them being gone in the evening. Those are the people that go to morning class because they have to go to morning class. There's only one guy getting up at 4:30 in the morning, and we all know who that guy is. He takes pictures of his watch and puts it on Instagram. The rest of us are fantasizing about it, putting it out there, saying we're going to start going. You're not going to start going. And that's going to be a failed resolution. You should wipe it off. The second one is, and I hate to say this, but you're not going to get your blue belt this year.
God damn it, Tim. What is wrong with you?
You got way more work than what you think you got. I know you're saying that the game's really coming together and you're really figuring out cross.
I'm ready, coach. I'm ready. I'm ready, coach.
You're not. You don't have none of that shit figured out. You're terrible at it. I'm telling you, you're terrible at it. So just keep going to class. You ain't getting your blue belt. Not this year. 2026, early 2027. That's more appropriate. And then the last thing that is going to fail because you're going to get tricked in the end, and it's happened to me the last 3 years. This will not be the year that you cancel Flow Grappling. I guarantee it. You're going to see that credit card bill for $149.99, and you're going to go, damn it. These fuckers got me again. They got me on the auto renew. This will not be the year you get off Flow Grappling. This will be the year that you continue with your subscription because you don't pay attention to it and they catch it every time.
As per Tim Freeman, the best day to not attend class was yesterday. The next best day to not attend class is tomorrow. Kevin, what are the failed New Year's resolutions that you see out there?
All right, well, Purple Belt has already missed warm-ups. That's going to happen. Always injured guy, he's already injured again. He swore he would flow roll. He was like, yeah, man, I'm going to limit if I'm not feeling the round, if I'm kind of out of it, I'm not going to go too hard. And then he felt like, he was like, hey, we said 40%. I feel 41%. And now they're fucking wrestling on the benches off the side of the mat. Yeah, always injured guy is already injured. The leg locker guy is not learning top game. He's not going to learn how to wrestle. That dude's going to stay at leg locker forever. Now, no shot he's working on his double leg. Yeah, man, 30 reps after practice every day. That lasted 0 days. He was like, I'll get him next. I gotta get out of here today. But tomorrow I'll do 60. And then he's never done them again. My favorite one is absolutely going to be the brown belt guy. He's not drilling. No shot. He just pulled up to class. He did a couple reps, and then he started walking over to other groups and telling them, yeah, see, what you got to do is, this is the way I do it. Let me show you. That guy, he's still doing that shit. He's not drilling. He's not working on his own game. His game's done. He has completed it. He's good to go. He's just waiting to get that teaching black belt, that participation black belt, and he's good to go.
Thank you for that, Kevin. Can I just add one in here? I don't want to take up the time. I mean, clearly the time was used to the best of its available potential there. The one that I want to add in is this. Hey, listen, I know it's fun out there to go compete, okay? You're not going to do adult division. If you have the option to go do masters, what are we talking about here, kid? Don't go out there. Some of us have done it, and I did it by accident, by the way. I did not do it. I tried to get out of it, and there was a dude, you know who you are, Ty, Adanaga, who said, yeah, sure, do adult, Raph. What could go wrong? I don't know. Flying darces. That's what could go wrong. Attacks from a prominent MMA competitor for LFA. Let me just tell you, the ghost of Christmas future is here, and he's here to tell you, don't be a fool. Sign up with fellow olds. Enjoy your oldness. Laugh with the old people who are just happy you showed up. But if you're trying to fight the kids, they'll murder you, and they won't blink an eye. You know why? Because one of those people will probably be in your division, and that is one Kevin Sherrill. And if you see Kevin here, just look at this face. That's not the face of somebody who's going to take it easy on you old. That is the look of a dude who's trying to get the medal any way that he can, even by cheating or by magic, as noted from the books that are behind him. Nonetheless, you should probably be very nervous that if this dude is in here and he even smells icy hot on you, he will target the area.
If you look a little bit tired, I'm going for the highlight reel. I'm going to break your leg and put it on Instagram.
Kevin already has a track record of lurking at events where he's not a competitor, trying to basically find who the wounded animal is.
How tired are these guys? On the third day, he was seen asking how tired everybody is. Tired enough? Better do the fourth day.
It is pretty funny that nothing is funnier than people being like, could you believe that Kevin found his way in here? And it's like, absolutely can. What are you talking about?
You haven't met Kevin.
He brought his
Raph,
own
did you
kit.
know this was going to
already
happen?
ready.
Know it. I just made 50 bucks off of this shit. Nonetheless. Well, gentlemen, thank you for that. I think that was a good exploration at New Year's resolutions. We now go to a topic that I know very little about, and we'll see if you guys know more so too. It does look like Greg Saunders is saying that instructionals might be overrated. Now, I'm not sure if that's the full context, but maybe he is questioning the validity of that in a world where you need human contact in order to truly understand jiu-jitsu. For the beginning of this, I'll go to you, Tim, to tell us what exactly do we need to know about this, and what exactly might he be arguing here?
So, Souders is big in the ecological jiu-jitsu movement, and he's been asked and pressed a lot of times. According to him, he seems like a nice enough guy. I don't know him personally. He's mentioned several times that he's been approached by various companies to make instructionals and things like that, and he doesn't do it. And I'm going to quote him. He said, "I've been trying to tell people that's why I don't sell anything. That's why I don't have any DVDs. That's why when BJJ fanatics approached me multiple times, I said no. The thing is, you're asking for a plug and play method that won't work. I'm sorry, but I'm a principled guy. This stuff is hard to learn." Basically goes on to challenge, which the article calls the $1 billion instructional video market. I think that's a little bit of a reach in the jiu-jitsu world, but we'll go with it. And he goes, look, the shortcuts are the lie, and that's what they're selling you. He specifically mentions John Danaher in the article and says these guys are taking advantage of the white market, getting people to buy instructionals. And so I started thinking, what would be an instructional that you would admonish a white belt to actually watch? Like, what would be something that would be good? If it's not the BJJ fanatic stuff, then what is it?
Thank you for that. I'm going to come first for a reaction to Kevin, and then we'll get to your question. But Kevin, what is your reaction to all of this for a $1 billion industry for instructional, sir?
All right, I got to actually apologize for those of y'all that saw me just roll my eyes super hard at the mention of Greg Souders saying that instructionals don't work. And then he made a bunch of really valid points. I just, I instinctively, the ecological approach, I roll my eyes at the pseudo-intellectual pedantry of it all, where they're like, oh yeah, like everything you guys do is wrong. We never drill. I'm like, I don't fucking believe you. Anyways, yeah, that he actually makes some solid points about it being like the industry being sold as like a fix to your problems, when the reality is you do need a coach, you do need mentorship. If you're looking for like a direct correlation to success in any endeavor, it's how successful your mentor is. Your mentor, not your teacher, your instructor, your whatever, but the person who's actually helping you. It could be your instructor, but it also might be that upper belt that's taking an interest in the pet white belt. So he actually makes really good points, and I've rolled my eyes hard as fuck out of hand because I instinctively have that reaction to anytime somebody's like, yeah, this established thing doesn't work. Happens all the time in jiu-jitsu, and it drives me nuts. But he's actually, I agree with a lot of that. I think instructionals are largely commercial endeavors and not necessarily teaching tools. They can be helpful. Don't get me wrong. Instructionals have helped me in the past, but they are largely commercial.
Can I bring this thought process up here? Because maybe there might be a simpler solution, which is that he might have a beef on where they're being targeted. In my experience, it's not necessarily even the students that are the most avid consumers of jiu-jitsu instructionals. It's usually instructors who are looking to try and shorten the amount of time they need to spend going elsewhere to get new techniques, new concepts, new things. Because for me, I feel like that's part of the gig when you're an instructor is you have to be caught into this world of, well, what are you guys doing? And I don't have time to go to everybody's gym. I would love to, but it shortens the time, the distance, the space. So I don't know if it's a big secret out in this world, but there's a lot of fucking instructors. So it wouldn't surprise me if those sales, just based on instructors alone, would be pretty high. Now, The issue is that you get a lot of never-do-wells who are probably thinking to themselves, if I learn this one DVD, I'm going to change my life. But I have a problem with that, which is, isn't that everywhere? If you literally watch a YouTube could also be weaponized against you. Do you know how many fucking ads tell me how much passive income I'm just letting go by?
Right.
Like, it could be used against you. You just have to have some common sense and say, I don't think that's for me, sir. So when I see somebody putting out a video, an instructional that's not necessarily for my game, I don't say, fuck these clowns. I go, I don't think that's going to work for me. Good luck to if it works for you. And most of the times, I think we're just in a boom. And I think it's a way of trying to put a wall up and saying, I don't believe this is the way forward. I think you need to have in person, which is fine. I think that's a real argument. I think there's some validity into saying, like, working with people and playing games and doing that sort of stuff. That could be great. But let me just remind you of something. The biggest criticism I have seen about ecological approach is that it's just new marketing. And it seems that that's the issue with this. So the one thing I would profess, if I am one of these people, obviously you're going to have more insight than somebody like me. But I know good marketing when I hear it. And bad marketing to me is always professing this is the only way to do it. So I think what you do is say, that might work for you. I think long-term, you're better suited from this. And that may be what he's arguing here. I don't know the full context. I just know that from this one particular thing, it's a different way of thinking. And one thing I do want to point this out, and this has really been like seeped in my consciousness recently. I know we like to give shit to the way that people learn and saying like, oh, students, I learn like this. I only learn like this. Have you ever thought that sometimes your instructors only teach like this? Like, sometimes they're trying their best, but they don't instruct like other people. So when people say, I only learn like this, well, sometimes instructors only teach like this. It's a very weird conundrum that happens. So that's why when it works and you find your people, it's a goddamn miracle and it should be appreciated. So if you do have those people around you, appreciate the fact that you, same time, place, somehow found each other, because nothing makes me laugh more than the fact that whenever I run into my good friend John Evans and do play-by-play commentary with him, I'm like, I could have made it into a lot of different gyms, but I happened to find the right goofball that was able to tell me, no, that's bullshit, but here's how it works. And it made an impression on what I do. So I'm very lucky, and I hope that you guys are as well. Nonetheless,
can I give a recommendation, though, for jiu-jitsu instructional that I think all white belts should see?
Yes, please.
I really do believe this. And it's an unconventional one, but again, like all topics, I think long and hard about them. I write at night, I get up in the morning, and I read back over it. And I wrote this down late last night. Took my glaucoma medication, dozed off. But right before, I wrote down every white belt should watch Training Day with Denzel Washington and Ethan Hawke. Because, listen, this is what jiu-jitsu is going to be like for you. You're Ethan Hawke in a room full of Denzel Washingtons. No matter which jiu-jitsu cult you join, you're going to join one. You're going to find that to be the case. And more times than not, at the end of it, you're going to have some sort of falling out with your training officer. That's pretty much sums it up. Outside of that, I would actually recommend Mario Sperry Day is In. It's a classic. I know Choke is out there, but Mario Sperry Day is In. If you really want to look like you know what's up, you watch that one, you quote that one, you talk about that one to your friend.
Thank you for that, Tim. Similar to Training Day, you will also probably just abuse your power the longer you stay in this world. So get used to that.
I was going to say, can we do this? Can we do the movies we should recommend? Because I have one.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Whiplash with J.K. Simmons. That's the one to watch. That's the one to watch for sure.
It's all abuse.
Yeah, dude. I watched that with some of my athletes, and it's so funny because you get like both reactions. They're both really strong reactions. One is like, oh yeah, the guy in the instructor role is totally abusing and like psychologically manipulating these influential young kids that look up to him. And like, I'm watching it with two of my athletes, and I'm, man, this is fucked up. I can't believe he's doing this. Look at them. They're destroying their lives following this guy. And the two fighters I'm watching it with, when the movie ends, go, bro, that's fucking rad. We got to go to the gym. Look at all these sacrifice. That's the way to do it, bro. like, that was not the lesson, bro. It was about balance. What are you doing? And they're like, nah, man, gym right now. Get your shoes. Like, we're going. Yeah, it'll go one way or another. Either you're going to be like, oh, wow, I'm never going to be taken advantage of like that. Or you're going to be like, sick. I can't wait to find somebody who's going to take advantage of me. And then I'm going to win a bunch of tournaments. Like,
that's a good pull.
Yeah.
That's a good pull. I will say, my wife recently came up to me and she goes, you know what I need to watch? I was like, what? She's like, I need to see Whiplash again. I was like, do you? Like, what are you going through right now? And she goes, no, I just love it. I go, no, I get it. It's just, that's a fucking extreme movie to do. Here's the one I'll leave you guys with since we're doing movie pulls. Mine's just going to be Dodgeball. And here's why. You get a Vince Vaughn character. He's in over his head. He really shouldn't be doing this. But he's kind of reluctantly pulling these goofballs in and teaching them how to not lose, but like prepare for the worst. And along the way, they learn life lessons. Like, you're not a pirate. Get your shit together. You're not a child. By the way, yeah, you guys suck. It's important you know these things. For every successful gym out there that's like, I need a true mentor. It's like, no, you might also need someone that just sets you straight. And every once in a while, it's good when someone says, you know, guys, take that as a win. You kind of beat the second place team. That was a good day at the office. Anyway, life shit. I'm going to go back to drinking now. And I think that has an equal place in this world. Anyway, gentlemen, I digress. We should move to our next topic, which, Tim, you put up here as the Zuckover. So it would appear that Mark Zuckerberg, the Facebook Meta founder, if you would, kind of experiencing a little bit of a midlife crisis. Found some jiu-jitsu in his life and now has restyled his hair, gone on the Joe Rogan podcast, and generally seems to be making some political differences in his life. So I guess I'll start here by asking you, Tim, what exactly is involved in the Zuckover, if you would?
Well, you know, I think you're right. It has become obvious that Mark Zuckerberg, he's in the mid to late stages of his jiu-jitsu makeover. And this happened to me, by the way. This has happened to lots of people that come into jiu-jitsu, and maybe they have low T. Maybe they were in a house where they had a lot of cats. Like, there's like 6 or 7 cats lived in the house. They just didn't really get a good, strong expression of combat and that masculine energy. And they find it at jiu-jitsu, and it kind of wakes something up. And it makes you do things like perm your hair, tease it out, get colored contacts put in, tan, go to the doctor, get on some TRT, start lifting, start punching bags. So we can see all these things have started to make a change in Zuckerberg. And it got me thinking, what else is left for him to like really complete his jiu-jitsu makeover? And I got a couple items here and I want to throw them out, and I'd like to hear your guys as well. Number one is, if you're going to really fully complete the jiu-jitsu makeover, you have to start teaching the kids class. That's like 100%. You have to do that. There's no other way to really complete the makeover without being the kids class instructor. So that's something that he should definitely take up. He should look into that. I know he's a busy guy. I know he runs a big company, but I think he can carve out enough time to run the kids session. The other thing that you definitely need to do is make a trip to Brazil. And I'm sure he's been to Brazil, but does he have the picture by the Christ the Redeemer statue throwing the Shaka sign? That's a definite tall tale sign that your makeover is just about complete. And then the last thing is really one of the dark secrets of the jiu-jitsu makeover. And I'm sure, I don't want to speak for you guys, but I would be willing to bet that you guys have engaged in this activity. And it might be the most important part of the makeover. And that is to start shit posting under your troll account on Reddit Jiu-Jitsu. It's extremely important in your jiu-jitsu development that you start engaging in that online warfare for the betterment of yourself, for the completion of your makeover, and really for the uplifting of the jiu-jitsu community. And then it also gives me fodder to talk about once a week on this show. So jiu-jitsu changes lives, and we know that, and we can see it. Zuckerberg is a prime example.
Thank you for that, Tim. Kevin, what is your response to the Zuckerberg changes? What have you noticed most, and what are the changes you agree with or disagree with in Tim that will be soon to be featured by those going through that crisis in their life?
Well, if jiu-jitsu really saved his life, he needs to show it the same way everybody does. He needs the belts tattooed on him. I think he's, what is he, a blue belt or a purple belt now? So go ahead and get the 5 belts and get the ones that you already have filled in, maybe with some dates, maybe a little quote about, Gardner in a war in a garden. I don't know how it goes, but you do. Maybe some kind of animal in a gi, like a gorilla or a tiger. That would go very well. But if it did save your life, get the belts tattooed on you in a giant stack going down your leg or across your chest, maybe tricep if you're feeling like being a little, like a little subdued. You don't want to be in everybody's face about it. You just get your whole tricep. That's what he needs. That's a true jujitero or jujitsoka if you're getting, if you know the deep lore. Has those tattoos. That's the only way we need to identify him in public, is by where he's at in his journey, marked in ink on his skin forever. And then preferably he reaches like purple or brown and then never gets the black belt. And it's just weird. I love that. Love to see that.
That's when he truly falls out of love with it. Can I just say this? Okay, I have a few notes here. First and foremost, this whole I have to go on Joe Rogan to really show people I'm not a robot. Great. This whole thing that he's doing about talking about masculine and feminine energy, if you look like Zuck, I don't care what they've shot you with. You don't need to be talking about this. There is nothing about the photo in the top right that will tell us this is the guy. This is the dude who's going to tell you about masculine energy. Yep. He's really going to do it. I just feel like we're in a weird space, and Kevin is one of the first to lead this charge, which is sometimes jiu-jitsu be dumb. And this is one of the times where I think to myself, I have to remove myself from the cult. When Joe Rogan the next day goes, yeah, I was here. Nothing turns you into a libertarian like jiu-jitsu. And it's like, you know what? Probably not. But I love the fact that that's what you think. It's just maybe you got a cop buddy and a couple other pals that are all the same. That doesn't mean it's a universal thing. And especially when we talk about jiu-jitsu as a douchebag filter, I don't know, man. Have we checked that one lately? Do we need to get a new filter? Because looks like there might be some shit stuck in there too. I would tell
Listen, man, Seth Daniels is still in the sport.
Oh,
it's clearly not working.
I haven't felt the need to pick on Seth recently.
Dude.
Wherever he is.
No.
I almost did it for resolutions because he had a
bless you,
resolution
Seth.
about not being negative and not engaging in the. See how that whole. See if he gets in the comments. I wanted to do it just to check and see if he'll engage in the negativity.
I feel like, what happens is in person, Seth and I always have like a good experience, bad experience, good experience, bad experience. I feel like that's going to be the real test, because I feel like the next time I see him, I'm going to be like, I think I'm supposed to be a good experience. We'll see if this goes down. I just know that when we taught all these things and I saw all these different products can make from and Zuckerberg and him going to Joe Rogan, I was like, or he's just doing jiu-jitsu. That'll be more of what's happening. And it's cool that he's doing it. I applaud it, happy with that. But it doesn't mean shit, because the dude's already weird to begin with, and we're not normalizing him. We're not doing anything great. But if you were one of those people who thought, I didn't fuck with him before, but now I don't know, man. Maybe he's not so bad. I'm like, go read some of the stuff he's done because, like, I'm pretty sure it's not. You know what? Okay, great. If you kids don't want to read, that's perfectly fine too. Nonetheless,
Dude,
enjoy what
one
you
thing
do.
that jiu-jitsu is phenomenally terrible at, like abysmal, the worst at. Absolutely. Of all the things, jiu-jitsu is like on the far end of the most extreme. They absolutely are this way. Jiu-jitsu will never ever hold anybody accountable ever for their actions. Fuck no. Absolutely not. You know how many absolute pieces of shit are running around this community who have done terrible things that we all are terrible, and then we see them on Sunday. We're like, hey, and like I see people shaking their hand, and I'm like, are they allowed in the building? What do you mean? I'm not even gonna name any. You can see Rap's face because he's waiting for me to fuck up and say somebody's name. I already did that once. I only get one per show. I'm not gonna do it. You all know the guy in your head, or the guys, or the whatever. There's somebody. You know a guy who should not be allowed to walk around in public, and then everybody daps him up at the local New Breed.
That's a good point, Kevin. It really is.
Yeah, I'm the guy. To somebody out there, I'm that guy.
You are.
Like, this dude shouldn't be allowed
from
out there.
tournaments. You are.
Yeah.
Someone actually took action against you.
Yeah,
They
I've been
said
banned
you're
from places in the jiu-jitsu
allowed.
community.
I
Yeah.
think I've had
Damn, they
people-
actually held me accountable. That's crazy.
Just to let you know, I've had people over the years in a comment section try to drag me and be like, you interviewed this person. I was like, because they won. Not because I like their politics. They just won, dude. And they're like, yeah, you platformed them. And I was like, 10 years ago? Jesus fucking Christ. Okay.
The person you already know who he is, that guy, I platformed that guy. The guy you know about already. Okay.
Yeah.
And nonetheless, we're going to move on, but I will say this. To Zuck, I'm glad you're enjoying jiu-jitsu. It's a complicated thing. I don't know what else to tell you, but the real signifier here that you're part of the community is now you got to get roasted, because that tells me if you have a real jiu-jitsu experience or not. A lot of celebrities can get the star treatment where it's, oh, kid gloves, you guys are great. No, if you're truly in jiu-jitsu, you're getting roasted as fuck. So welcome to the community. That's how you know you're real. That's what real people feel. Hopefully, see you soon on the mat. We move to our next topic, which, by the way, I guess takes us to another installment. Before I press this button, just know one thing. Rafa Esparza is good at a lot of stuff. Really good. Spends a lot of time plugging this stuff away. I did not change the theme song. And here's why. Because it's extra work, and I just didn't do it yet. I will in the future, but for now, enjoy something that says PGF Court, even though it's Bullpen Court. You know the difference. You've been here, I guess, for whatever one. Anyway.
We should just cut all of it. Should just be, the only edit should be just the word bullpen as all the
Swear to God, Kev, I was going to do it live. I was 100%, if I didn't have to put on this fucking
I'm so
stupid
sorry.
robe, I was 100% going to be like, bullpen. Just kind of pop it in. Not to say it still can't happen. We'll see what happens here. All right, go ahead.
All right.
In 3, 2, 1, go. This is real. The participants are not actors. They are not skilled enough to be actors. They are actual hosts litigating on behalf of the athletes and the audience of the PGF at an undisclosed underground court in Las Vegas. Both parties have agreed to dismiss the internet and settle their disputes here at Bullpen Court. There we go. Okay. So
Perfect.
I almost had it on sync perfectly. The only thing is I had to commit to not putting on the fucking robe. So we'll see if it finds its way here. All right, gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and have a debate right now, which is, be it resolved, should the next CJI, aka CJI dose, heard it here first, include super teams? What is a super team? A super team means that these are people who all compete together, meaning not some randos from other organizations. They all have to be within the organization or the affiliation to which they belong. I'm going to start here first with Tim Freeman. Tim, I'm going to put 1 minute on the clock for you.
So we're saying a super team, just a point of clarification, Your Honor. I want to make sure I understand this before I levy my argument.
You know what? Give me a second. I'll stop the clock for you, but go ahead.
We're saying that a super team has to be composed of athletes from the same team,
Same affiliation. Okay, so
I thought it was the opposite. The super team is where you can get anybody.
That's what I thought too.
Okay. Disagreement.
Real
on
teams
terms.
versus
Gotcha.
super teams.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, let's do this. Right here. Oh, I do love this. Oh, again, this is why you know you're the fucking demo for this. Be it resolved and all the debate nerds' ears perked up. Yeah, I throw that in there every once in a while. All right, let's just do this to make it as simple as possible. We'll say real team and super team. Does that make sense? It make sense to you guys?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So let's give the definition again. For the purpose of today's debate, Tim and Kevin will be debating the merits between a super team, meaning people who are basically bought into one giant conglomerate team, or a regular team or affiliation that you are used to seeing. Tim, time will begin on the clock for you.
So my argument is absolutely not. You should not have super teams. They're not real teams. We're in a building phase in jiu-jitsu. We need to pump up the actual athletes and the actual teams that these athletes belong to. And when you have a super team, it diverts attention away from the actual team. Teams like 10th Planet, teams like ATT, teams like Atos Jiu-Jitsu, Art of Jiu-Jitsu. Listen, nobody follows a super team. Neither of you guys can tell me who was on the 1997 MLB All-Star team. Nobody watches the Pro Bowl. You know why? They're super teams. Nobody cares. They take focus off the real team and they put it on the fake team. The only thing I want to see a jiu-jitsu super team do is sing We Are the World. I want to see Danaher running the monitors. I want to see Gordon with half a can up singing because he's got cauliflower on the other side. I want to see Gary going in on the keyboards. That's what I want to see. Outside of that, super teams don't belong in jiu-jitsu. They divert the attention away from the individuals and the actual teams.
For that, all right, Kevin, I'm coming to you now. You have 1 minute on the clock.
Yeah, I'm arguing in favor of super teams. I don't see why in a sport filled with, and I say this lovingly, as one of you creantes, we need to put that much emphasis on the teams. The significance is on the athletes, it's on the individual performance, it's on how well they do individually, not team-based. If you start doing super teams, you start cutting out small gyms, people that are championing, one good guy came out of there beating the odds, but he doesn't have anybody around him. He doesn't have other people. He's just still with his guys, right? As far as viewership, of course you want to have super teams. If you look at all the Marvel movies, everyone has seen the Avengers. Who the hell is out there watching like the third Ant-Man or whatever, right? Like the individuals don't matter. It's when they all come together that we tune in. You get to access all of that talent. Why wouldn't you leverage as much entertainment as possible? Who gives a shit what they call it, right? Avengers versus Justice League versus I don't know. I never watched the Aquaman movies. Let them in.
Okay. I wasn't sure. That sentence was hanging off of 4 different modifiers. So it took me a second to figure out, wait, done? Oh, period.
I got about 20 seconds after I made my point. I realized I was still talking and I just.
Thank you for that. All right.
It happens when you think.
For you,
shock. The brain catches up to the yapper.
The shock and awe, you tell me. Kevin, you now have 1 minute of cross-examination time.
Cross-examination?
Do you remember how this works?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had them mixed up, but yeah, go for it. Cool.
Wait, what do you mean I have them mixed up?
Don't worry about it, man. I'm not here for the thinker, but I'm caught up. I'm caught up. I'm good to go.
It's a Tolkien thing. You wouldn't know about it.
First of all, everybody shut up here. The way it works is Tim goes first. You go. Then you do cross-examination because you just win.
Yeah, I thought he was going to cross-examine me. It's fine, though. We're all good. It's good. I thought
he was going to use that time to write his questions while I was cross-examining him.
Kind of.
The worst part is I haven't. Well, you guys haven't both really been on, so it's been a difficult thing. So yeah, you can tell there's a little ring rust here. Kevin cross-examined the shit out of Tim. A lot's riding on this go.
Hell yeah! All right, Timothy, if you will. You referred to these teams as not real teams. When you assemble them together, they're not real teams. That implies that there aren't actual bonds between these athletes. Tim, do you have friends from other affiliations?
Yes.
So would you say that the bonds you have with those friends, could you give me a name of somebody, a friend of another affiliation?
Rafa Esparza.
Right. Would you say that the bond between you and Raf is just as real regardless of affiliation?
Yes.
That was a very hesitant yes. Makes me feel like you don't actually like Raf, which I feel like is going to hurt your
Honor,
case.
can I object to that? Because that's totally
I'm
It's on record now.
Still my time. Very hesitant yes. I just, you mentioned that super teams divert attention, but I feel like we are something of a super team, and we have done anything but divert. We do well together. This is a super team. You would take that away from us? Time.
You're out of time, dog.
We just have to assume he would have said, "Yeah, I would take that away from you," because that is his argument.
Noted. All right, Tim, you now have 1 minute of rebuttal time. The time begins.
Kevinette. Okay, if you were in a band, would you want to make split it 5 ways, or would you want to split it like less than 5 ways?
Could you clarify it?
The money. The reward.
Which money? The reward? Do you know how bands work?
Okay, let's
assume they call it.
Do you watch the All-Star game?
Which All-Star game?
Any sport.
Yeah, I watched the NBA's All-Star game.
Okay.
When I used to watch the NBA, I watched the All-Star game.
Okay, so you don't watch them.
I don't watch.
If you had the chance to be on a team, would you rather be on a team with athletes from another affiliation, or would you rather be on a team with your would you rather be on 10th Planet Atlanta or ATT?
I'm confused. What was the question?
Oh, come on now. He's being willfully ignorant.
No, I'm not. I was saying it started as what basketball team would you rather, and then it became which of these two real affiliates. Neither of those is a super team. Both of those are real teams.
What I'm saying is, would you rather compete on a super team with people you don't know, or on a team with your homies from ATT?
A winning team. So, both.
Okay, so it just depends on who's winning.
All right, I'm done.
We are the super team. That's what I'm saying.
I'm going to hold you in contempt if you keep talking. Tim, you have 1 minute for your closing statement.
Okay, listen, peoples of the court. I will admit that I'm a little bit rusty. It has been a little bit of time, and my experience with this court is that it's testy and it's temperamental. It could be all 4 seasons in one day. But having said that, I have high respect for this court, and there needs to be accountability in jiu-jitsu, and this is one way we bring it. Super teams are like super bands. Nobody fucking listens. Nobody cares. Nobody pays attention more than one time. It's a popularity contest. It's an Instagram contest. If we want to build the athletes, we should build them as individuals or build up the actual teams and affiliations that they compete on. Outside of that, there's nothing stopping some big organization from throwing a bunch of money at guys and coming in and winning the best each time. You're basically going to have the New York Yankees of grappling. And let me tell you this, nobody, not even Dodger fans, nobody likes the Yankees. So my argument to you guys today is no super teams.
Thank you for that. Tim's time has expired. Kevin, your closing statement.
Yeah, Tim's mentioned the band comparison, but when bands go on tour and they want a high turnout, they want to put on a good show, they go on tour with other bands. They don't do a solo act. They bring other bands with them to leverage their combined talents, their combined pull to bring in fans of all of them, something we could do with grappling. When you talk about teams you would like to be on, the dream team which was a conglomeration of opponents from various places who all came together with their very real bonds to compete together for something bigger. Like $1 million sounds like a big thing, right? When you're talking about like, oh yeah, if we do this, then we'll have the New York Yankees of, grappling. That's got an emotional pull for people already. They're like, oh yeah, like I don't even watch baseball. And I'm like, yeah, man, I don't like the Yankees. Right? But it gets you going. It engages viewers, right? If you have the New York Yankees, you're still going to have people who dislike or like teams based on how they were formed, who they think get screwed over. It just adds another layer of complexity to the game. I think it's has a lot of merit. Thank you, Your Honor. Also, I would like to also note that in my closing statements, I didn't actually attack the fairness and legitimacy of this court. Just saying, like certain
what
other
would be the
people.
Fairness and legitimacy
I'm
of
just-
the court that you're.
I just noticed that was how Tim opened his closing statement, was with talking about his experiences this court being negative. I haven't had that. I think the court's great.
That is noted for the record. All right, gentlemen, my rendering is as follows. First of all, I want to go ahead and bring up the idea that, yes, it was concerning that neither of you knew how to define this from the very beginning. That probably should have been the telltale sign that this is not going to go well. Number two, this was something I was very much looking forward to clipping and showing off to our friends who have been involved in CJI. I don't know that that's happening. 3, I want to say it started well for Tim when he was trying to say there's no such things as super teams that are appealing to him, and making the Pro Bowl associations here got me thinking, okay, maybe it's going to get a little muddled bringing in other sports. And then Kevin said, hold my beer. I've got some stuff for you guys. Now, granted, the best thing that Kevin did was argue about the Avengers coming together, because that in itself is pretty telling on why people like super teams. Nobody did go see Ant-Man 3, and that was a huge problem for a lot of people. Granted, kind of trash, but not the worst thing I've ever seen, but still not good. Let's be very clear about that. And then something happened. First of all, Kevin couldn't remember how to cross-examine, arguing with me as if I've changed things. As if I've come up with new things. Just to be like, Raph, you're not going to let him question me now? No, the point is you get to go. You just spoke. Oh, okay. Because isn't that how we've done it? But no, it's not how we've done it before. Okay, well, I thought for a good experiment in 2025, we would be progressive with our views. But nonetheless, you do you. And then did something on Tim that was irreparable, which was, hey, what would you consider Raph as a teammate? And Tim struggled with that answer. And I thought, oh, is that what we are now? I'm nothing to you. And I swear to God, from that point on, I said, I think this is done. And I'm going to be completely honest with both of you. The next 4.5 minutes of whatever jargon either of you were spitting were so incoherent that Tim re-referenced a previous case, you like baseball? Which we've already brought into this court and said is not an effective form of argumentation. And Kevin just kind of stumbled his way through a closing statement that just said, stuff. And by the end of it, I'd like to point out that at least I said that Raph's not a bad teammate. Am I right? Am I right? In theory, it should have been a mistrial because Tim screwed up so phonetically that it made all of us gleefully happen to watch. Kevin Sherrill, you do win this one by the ultimate defaults of defaults. Congratulations to you.
Oh, I love it. Thank you, sir. Your Honor.
I just got to say this now that the case is over.
Please
Listen,
do.
He was leading me down a path where I'm like, he knows I'm going to say yes, but like, is there a more clever answer? And I'm like, yeah.
You know what you could say? Here, let me walk you through it, counselor. Raph Esparza. Yeah, I mean, he's obviously a great training partner and friend. But I think he's more the exception rather than the rule. So why don't you bring up somebody else? Do you have anybody else that we could talk about? Because he was asking you to bring up any person. Do you have a
I can't believe
Do
you
have a friend?
I can't believe you picked Raph.
And then you picked me, and I go, oh no, okay, we'll see how this plays. And I was thinking, I'm prepared for a lot here. And it's like, do you consider Raph a friend that you would have on a team? And the space in your voice between the ellipsis and the next sentence was so staggeringly loud that I go, Tim, if you think there's any way you're gonna
Holy shit.
I
should have.
you know what, Tim, I can tell you this right now. If Kevin shut his mouth and said, I'm done,
I should have just said
that.
no further questions.
I would have 100% awarded it to him right then and there. I probably would have just been like, instead, I had to hear both closing statements and still evaluate them. And then as Kevin's doing it, essentially getting to the end and going like, I mean, and you go, doesn't matter, Kevin, you won. But
the whole time I was doing my closing statement, I was like, do I really have to do this or are we done? Like, that was a brutal one.
I'm a misunderstood genius lawyer, and it's hard because people don't get me. You know what I mean? Like,
coming out of it. Get you in that argumentation.
Bro,
you watch your closing statement again. And then what I'm going to do for you, hold on. When you watch that closing statement, I'm going to show you the isolated footage of just me. Okay? And I want you to just tune in on me, trying my best to hear it out and writing notes like, oh, no. And there may be a pin throwdown, but for sure there's a moment. Anyway, gentlemen, great job, but kind of. I would say this. I'm very excited to go to our next and one of our last segments, if you would, which is getting to the fight, because I should kind of reveal this. This is at UFC 311 at the melee that happened yesterday at the Intuit Dome, which is here in Los Angeles, and that technically falls under my jurisdiction. So when these things happen, I sent the video to the boys here, and I said, gents, we obviously have to do this one, but for me, it's not just doing this one, it's also trying to explain why Mexicans fight, which is really, honestly, a never-ending story in this world. But nonetheless, I will preface it with this, which is, if you think it's a good fight, it's not, but also perhaps not the worst fight we've ever seen. So, having said that, gentlemen, do you have anything that you would like to say before I put this fight up here for everyone to see?
It's a good one.
It's a good one? Okay. Well,
yeah,
let's do this.
I liked it a lot.
I'm going to pull this one up right now, and I'll walk you through the first take at it. But before I get started, let me point something out. You're about to see some t-shirts. Pay very close attention if one strikes out to you. As we see, gentlemen here, lots of Mexicans angry at each other, getting into some fisticuffs. And yes, this cameraman, untrained. But I want to zoom in on this shirt. What possible hooligan could be involved? Could it be someone wearing a Craig Jones Invitational shirt? Yeah, guys, this one strikes near and dear to the hearts here, because this is somebody who probably has a good sense of humor but got dragged into nonsense. And then you're thinking to yourself, well, let's see how his hands work. Well, first, you see him trying to pull people away. Then you see, bam, this is my favorite hit, by the way, because this dude hits nothing but nothing. That is an impressive feat when you are charging at someone when you make 0% contact. Nonetheless, they go on. They get broken up by this dude who's also, was he holding coffee at this moment? Yeah, this dude, oh no, I think he has a beer in hand, which by the way, I just went to the Intuit Dome. Very expensive, so I could understand why he would want to keep that going there and make sure everything's good. Did it calm down? No. It just looks like a really lazy mosh pit at like a very aggressive alternative scene. But nonetheless, I don't feel like we learn much from this fight. We just get really sad for the fact that these guys probably learned their striking from Craig Jones himself. So I'm going to take my first at bat with it. Kevin, I'll give you the next at bat if you wouldn't mind.
There's two CJI shirts here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not crazy. These guys look very similar and have two CJI shirts. I love that. They squatted up. I'm
It's the
absolutely here
first
for it,
time.
man. Yeah. Finally, like in all of these, you can clearly see like the Hats gang is present, but you never see anybody bring backup. They said, no. We're both appreciators of butt scooting. I'm in there. I got you, buddy. I don't think they even knew each other.
Mm.
In addition to that, I want Super Smash Brothers to add the beer in one hand as an equipable item. I want to be able to play Street Fighter and just have one guy have a beer in the hand the whole time. Like, that's accurate. If we're going to have brawl games going forward, the beer in hand, and then I need like the pants to come down every now and then just over the butt crack. Just that's real fighting. You know, that's attention to detail that we need to see in future. I'm watching it on my phone because my thing is pixels.
Understood.
Just so you know.
I'm perfectly okay with that. I just didn't want to start playing it until you had view on it. Wallow says that's a super team for sure. Tim, why don't you take your stab at it here, sir?
Yeah, you guys are missing that. This is actually a modern day version of the Warriors. If you remember the great line from Cyrus, can you dig it? This is backwards hats versus forwards hats versus CJI sent their small startup gang. It's a 2-man squad. They also came to the gang meeting. There's also the hoodies, and then there is a slew, this new gang called the Videographers, and they're all on the side with their phones filming this. A real lack of stand-up training here, like a serious lack. There's lots of whiffs, lots of swings and misses, lots of there's one particular guy with a very bad haircut who is jubilantly videoing the fight here. He comes up on the left side.
Wait,
but I've never seen.
Did we just pass him?
He's well, I'm looking at it on my phone also
okay.
because a little choppy on the feed, but
Copy that.
This is a lot of pushing and shoving and not a lot of punches landed. I don't see one downed opponent. I didn't see one knockdown. I didn't see a trip. I didn't see a hair pull. I didn't see a foot sweep. I just see a lot of dudes swinging. It kind of looks like a junior mosh pit. Like you're practicing. This is the mosh pit warm-up area before you go to the mosh
Tim,
pit.
I didn't catch this the time before, but he's hitting it with the daddy chill.
And the one guy has the Fandom Lives Here shirt right at the beginning. Fandom lives here.
God,
So you got
you're right.
He's like the guardian angel of the group. You know, that group from New York City. He's just got his beret knocked off. He's there to actually keep the peace. Pretty good fight. I don't like seeing people get hurt in fights. I like to see fights where they like it's funny and
bounce
humorous
off
and
each
they
other.
both kind of walk off. Yeah, this is definitely that.
You know,
Dude,
you're too young for this, Kevin, but there used to be a Disney show on the Disney Afternoon called Gummy Bears where they would actually jump around, and anytime they hit a surface, they would just make a sound that was the equivalent of boing, boing. So every time I hear these guys make contact with each other, that is the noise I hear. It's just consistently a lot of boing, 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 boing. So there's been a lot of that, but I want to point out one last thing here. And I don't know that you guys thought of this. Do you think that they were fighting some ADCC people? Because I didn't hear one form of analysis here. Like, why are they fighting? We never get that deep in here. We just see the fight, break it down. This time we have inside information. Was this an ADCC versus CJI fisticuff fight?
There's a guy in the crowd that looks like he's wearing a sweatsuit. I'm going to put this video in my story for viewers because it is worth it's so worth the journey. There's so much going on to just sit there with your phone and just tap it. Just freeze frame every half second and look at the crowd. There's some dude in a sweatsuit. There's a guy in a Weird Al Yankovic looking wig thing, but I think that's his real hair. Like,
that's Heath.
Yeah, for real, bro. So, like, you sit there and just look in the crowd. You might be right. This might be some, like, this is how it's happening, man. This is how it happens on street level. You remember the old, like, what was it? Luta Livre versus Jiu-Jitsu rivalries that were just rock in Rio? It's happening today, man. It's ADCC versus CJI. The streets aren't safe anymore.
Well, I think they're safe considering seeing this actual fighting. I feel like I could have walked right through that, and came
Just straight through the
unscathed.
middle. Excuse me. I have a coffee in my hand. Please move.
Having just gone to the Intuit Dome and knowing how much those cost, which, by the way, I don't know if you guys have experienced this. At the Intuit Dome, you have to take a photo of your face, and that becomes your way of scanning, if you would. So you get scanned to walk in. It just like, womp. Cool. Welcome, Raph. Hello. You walk in to get a beer. Womp. Thanks, Raph. It's already been charged. So imagine me coming from getting 2 beers just to the side away being like, whoa, no, I'll be fine. Guys, move.
Yeah.
Don't fucking hit me. I would have not spilled at all, even with the worst pour possible. And I'll say this because this only happens every once in a while. Went to Monday Night Raw there. We had floor seats. And one of my friends told me, he's like, Raph, you've ruined me. And I was like, how? He goes, I can't sit with the pours now. And I was like, oh, no. And I go, I hope you don't understand. Like, I'm not actually rich. I just know how to get bang for my buck. And he's like, no, for real. You get good deals. And we walk in. They go, oh, hello, Raph. Oh, it's from my face. Right. You don't actually know me. Sure, right. And they go, please enjoy the Intuit Dome on the floor level. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? Oh, I don't have to go eat and drink with the pours? And there's private bathrooms down here? Guys, I guess what I'm saying is I saw how much the tickets were going for UFC. Entry level for the nosebleed of nosebleediest, $550 before tax.
Damn.
And then they changed the main event. So I'll tell you this. I'm all for fighters looking out for themselves. But if I had paid for that, I did not. And I paid that $550 plus tax. And I woke up this morning and I saw someone's back hurt. I would have been like, sir, you owe me that money. Because what the fuck are we doing here, people? And I'm not even mad. I'm just like, dude, it's going to suck. It's not as good of a main event. Islam is going to just dog walk through Moicano. Nonetheless, gentlemen, I think that's going to do it for us. Let's go ahead and plug some stuff. Tim, tell the people where they can find you, sir.
Inside BJJ, all your social media platforms. If you're out in Nashville, check us out at 10th Planet Nashville. And if you're out in Stockton, please go see 10th Planet Stockton. Also, the fires are still going, as far as I know, here and there, and people still need help. So make sure if you haven't donated or you're still considering it, that you pull the trigger on that.
Thank you for that. If you guys are so inclined to give, the best way you can do that is with 10th Planet Pasadena. Find their Venmo, make donations monetarily because I believe they have enough supply, so much so that they actually ran out of space. They have to go to a new space to do that. So just keep in mind, though, I think even though you donated now and they're saying hold donations, mind you, this is going to be a long fucking recuperation. So know that those donations will probably come into effect. Again, we are going to check in on our friends. This is not a one and done situation. It's going to take a long time to rebuild for them. So let's look out for them. Kevin, tell the people where they can see you.
At Kevin Grapples on Instagram, or come by American Top Team Lima or Superfly in Atlanta. Come through, come roll.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. By the way, Kevin, there's a gentleman when you go back to Superfly. His name's Caleb. He's down that way. I think he's visiting. He does a whole bunch of videography work. I told him to go find you, and I knew you would know what to do with him upon that information. So, just saying. You know what I mean? Like, he's good, but like, you know what I mean? Like, it's going to be
fun. Yeah.
He just got his purple belt, so it's like a good way to introduce him to that world.
Give him a little Raph sent his regards.
Hey, listen. I'm just saying. This is more for you than me. I built you up. I was like, Kevin's really good. I mean, I've seen better, but I mean, he's up there.
Had to slip in the I've seen better. You see what you did, Tim? You started this. Now it's tearing us apart. You brought the negativity to the friendship, and now
I brought the negativity to the super team. You really nailed me on that when you said this is a super team, and I'm like, damn it, Kevin.
The best was then looking at Tim going, well, Tim, what are you going to say? And Tim goes, don't worry, I'm going to find my way through this. I'm lost. I don't know where to go here. I just know it's getting real dark out there. All right, gents.
Bro, you were thinking 5 moves ahead and messing up the move you're currently on.
Yeah.
I almost did that. I'm just so. Anyways, good times.
Good work, you guys. All right, guys, I'll close this up. Thank you so much
Thanks,
for watching another installment of the Bullpen. My name's Rafa Esparza. What you just witnessed is a super team who can't really keep it together. Dude already left. He already knew. He was like, I gotta get out of here. If they cut back to me one more time, this shit's gonna get even worse. Nonetheless, we thank you for watching. Find me at Grappling Hour. Lots of new interviews coming up very, very soon, including one interview with Matt Mash that's going to be coming on the YouTube. A lot of other friends are joining us in the near future, so look out for those at Grappling Hour. And you can also find me patreon.com/Grappling Hour, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, rate and review where you see it. Check out rafasparza.com/merch for some new merch. And ladies and gents, that's going to do it for us here at the Bullpen. Thank you so much for making us the destination where you come to talk some bullshit and enjoy what is happening in the jiu-jitsu world. On behalf of all of us here, it's been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats.